What's going on, guys? It's Ozzy from OzHawks Hardware, and in this video I would like to focus on the weirdest product I've ever reviewed, the Ryzen 5 3500X. Now, I lied a little bit. It's definitely not the weirdest product I've ever reviewed, but it's still pretty odd, and let me explain why. What's up, guys? Future Ozzy here. I'd just like to thank Micro Center and Beard Care Gang for making this video possible. If you are interested in any of their products, then click the links in the description, or just keep watching. I'll talk about them a little bit more later on in the video. All right, that's it. Back to the review. Back in July, AMD released their newest lineup of third generation Ryzen CPUs. Now, they're great processors for the price. They perform better than the previous generation for the same MSRP. If we look at the third generation SKUs, you see that they make up a pretty wide price range, $99 to eventually $749 when AMD decides to drop the 3950X. Now, if you add the first and the second generation SKUs to the mix, you have a lot of buying options, which is good for consumers overall. Can you guess where the 3500X fits in these price categories? In the busiest market, the mainstream market, nevertheless, $99 to $249. It's very clear that AMD released this processor to combat Intel's i5-9400F, the best valued Intel processor on the market. If we're going to be honest, it's only priced at $155, and you get 6 cores and 6 threads. Otherwise, from a business perspective, segmenting their prices and their products this much doesn't make too much sense. The weirdest part about the 3500X is that you actually can't buy it from a local retailer. They're only available in China. I had to go through a Chinese buying agent to purchase mine, and it was about 1099 Chinese yuan, which is about $155 USD if you do a pure conversion without any tax. As you can see, it's a literal competitor to the i5-9400F. So let's compare the two processors. Alright, so let's get the specs out of the way first. The 3500X is a 6-core, 6-threaded processor with a 3.6 GHz base clock and a 4.1 GHz boost frequency. It has a 65-watt TDP and 32 megabytes of L3 cache, also known as game cache, as AMD's marketing department likes to call it. They're the same thing. There's no official MSRP in US dollars, but it's around $155 if you use a pure conversion from the Chinese dollar. But with shipping, it'll probably run you around $180 US dollars, so keep that in mind. You can run DDR4 3200 memory officially, and it is overclockable if you'd like to push it beyond the 4.1 boost frequency. It also comes with a Wraith Stealth cooler. I didn't have time to actually overclock the 3500X, but if you guys are interested, then comment down below and I'll try to make that happen. The i5-9400F shows a lot of similarities. It's also 6 cores with 6 threads with a 2.9 GHz base clock and a 4.1 GHz boost clock. It has a 65-watt TDP and 9 megabytes of L3 cache. The official MSRP is now $157, so more or less identical to the 3500X. It officially supports DDR4 2666 memory and cannot be overclocked. It comes with the standard Intel stock cooler that uses an aluminum slug. Quick shout out to Micro Center for actually sponsoring the 9400F. It was a last minute decision to add it into my 3500X review, but they were very flexible with my last minute purchase, and they were able to actually sponsor this and the motherboard, the Asus B360 Pro. So if you get the chance, show them your love too for making this video possible. If you have a Micro Center near you, go purchase your parts from them. They have amazing deals, first of all, and secondly, their customer service is really good. The 3500X is paired with an Asus Crosshair 7 X470 motherboard, 16 gigs of DDR4 memory in dual channel, a 1 terabyte South Korea Hynix SSD, and an RTX 2060 Founders Edition at stock. The 9400F has an identical bench system. The only difference is the motherboard and the cooler, obviously. The motherboard is the Asus B360 Pro, and the cooler is the Intel stock cooler. Now, the memory speeds and timings are different for each of the platforms. I ran both of them at their maximum supported memory speed and at the lowest timings that I could get. The Ryzen system has memory running at 3200 megahertz with a CAS latency of 16, and the 9400F has 2066 megahertz with a CAS latency of 16 as well. Just like with any other Ryzen processor, RAM speed does affect the 3500X, and I'll show you guys in a moment, but just keep that in mind. All right, time for the benchmarks. I got my laptop right here, so I'm just gonna read it off. In Cinebench, a synthetic rendering benchmark, the 3500X is anywhere from 10 to 13% faster than the 9400F in both versions. The extra 700 MHz base clock and the faster supported memory definitely plays a role in the extra performance uplift. Expect slightly better performance on the 3500X in rendering applications like DaVinci Resolve and Blender. I personally love emulators, and I recently started playing Ocarina of Time on my main computer, so I threw Dolphin as a benchmark. So the 9400F was about 10 seconds faster in the Dolphin 5.0 benchmark. This is no surprise, as Intel processors have an edge in the emulator, even with lower clock speeds. So hopefully Dolphin 6 offers some more optimization for Ryzen processors. As we move towards standard PC games, we are seeing an interesting result in 3D Mark Time Spy. The 9400F provides a 6% higher CPU score, but identical GPU and total scores. Still unsure why this is the case, as we don't see a similar trend in most of the games that I test. So the 3500X took the lead in Fortnite, one of the most popular titles today, by around 10%. Both had very solid performance using competitive settings, but if you're an FPS junkie, the 3500X is the best option. Continuing with the esports trend, the two processors were more or less identical in Rainbow Six Siege. You won't notice a difference. Overwatch flips the experience. The 9400F inches ahead by 4% over the 3500X in average FPS and in 1% lows. Even during intense teamfights, both processors kept frames high, and both can drive 144 Hz if you turn down the settings from Epic to Ultra or High. Far Cry 5 showed similar performance to Rainbow Six Siege. Both processors provide identical performance, and your video card will play a larger role than either one of these CPUs. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the second win for the i5, even if it is only by a margin of error. Only 2.5% difference here, so realistically, they're the same. And lastly, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the most CPU-intensive game on this list, gives the 3500X a 5% win. I'm sure the behemoth L3 cache and the higher processor frequency play a part in the victory. The 3500X did noticeably run hotter than the 9400F, one of the downsides of the fatter cache, higher frequency, and a higher heat density because of a smaller node. These were both with their respective stock coolers. So on average, the two processors perform smack within the margin of error of each other. There's about a 4 FPS difference between the two. In the dollar per frame department, the 3500X technically wins with a direct UN to dollar conversion, but that's not completely fair since it's just not realistic. Realistically, it'll cost about $180 with shipping, making each frame around 12 cents more than its competitor. At $180, it's still the best Ryzen CPU that you can technically purchase, unless you can find the 3600 on sale. Now, if you can get free or cheap shipping from China to wherever you live, or if you live in China, then the 3500X is the better option here. In case you can't get cheap shipping or it's more expensive by a large margin, then go get the 9400F. It's still a great CPU and it has a decent upgrade path too. Now, if you are going to spend up to $190 on the CPU, just spend the extra $10 and get the 3600, or wait for the 3600 to get on sale. Now, before I move on, I would like to highlight something that's probably pretty obvious to you guys. Remember when I mentioned that memory speed affects Ryzen CPUs, and the 3500X plays a part here. So look at these results. With the 3500X, I saw up to an 8% performance uplift, going from 2400 MHz to 3200 MHz memory with the same CAS latency. Now, Intel CPUs have a similar phenomenon, but not to the same degree as Ryzen CPUs. And because this is a focus on the 3500X, I didn't test memory speed differences with the 9400F. Spend the extra money and get faster memory if your budget allows. It's gonna give you like extra performance without really doing much. All you have to do is load in the extreme profile that most motherboards have nowadays, and you're set. It'll work fine. Now, the 3500X could have been a solid processor in Western markets, but it's clear that AMD is really trying to make a bigger wave and splash in China, and I don't blame them. China is huge. If you can make a presence there, then you can be set for a long time. With that in mind, striking their competition Intel at every single price point, even if it segments their products a good bit, makes a lot of sense. Personally, I think the 3500X would have been a great CPU outside of China. Between the 3400G and the 3600, there really isn't anything. And the 3400G, while it's a great value CPU and video card combination, the CPU section is noticeably slower than the other 3000 Ryzen counterparts. It's based on the Zen Plus node, which is slower than the Zen 2 node that the 3600 all the way through the 3950X are based on. This 3500X is a Zen 2 processor, so having that at $155 is really, really good. Now, before I go, I would like to thank the sponsor, or another one of the sponsors of this video, Beard Care Gang. Beard Care Gang is a subscription-based beard grooming service that sends you cute little care packages every single month to your front doorstep, so you don't even have to worry about picking up the right shampoo, the right conditioner, the right cream, the right brush, all that kind of stuff. They all deliver it to you. Now, I've been using them for a little bit under a year now, and I can see a noticeable difference in beard growth, beard quality, beard sheen, everything. And the best part about it is that it's super cheap. If you go to Beard Care Gang right now, you can check and see what style package fits your beard best. If you have a shorter beard like I have right now, then the first package might be better for you. If you have a long, thick beard like I had maybe a month ago, then the last package would make the most sense. Now, with the code OzTalks10, you can actually save $10 on any of these purchases. If you guys are interested, if you want a bigger beard, if you want a thicker beard or cooler beard, then go to beardcaregang.com and check it out. If you have any questions, let me know. And thank you to them for making this video, as well as Microcenter for making this video possible. With all that being said, make sure you guys check out my socials at OzTalksHW on everything, Instagram, Twitter. That's it, actually, so nothing else. See you guys in the next one. Yeah, this was a good video. Peace.